Good evening, everyone. Thank you for your patience. Called the regular Planning Commission meeting for Tuesday, December 14th, 2021 to order at 6:10 p.m. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Black?
Here.
Thank you. Commissioner Colindres? Commissioner St. Martin?
Here.
Vice Chair Smith?
Here.
Chairman Stevens?
Here. And the Pledge of Allegiance. Nate?
Yes. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God.
Of the United States, to the republic, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much. Is there any, are there any adjustments to the agenda? No?
None.
And conflict of interest disclosures? Anybody? Great. So this is the public comment period, and this meeting will be held, will be open to the public and conducted in a virtual format to be inclusive of all participation preferences. Public comment participation is encouraged by emailing any comments to the city clerk's office or by calling in using the phone number provided on the front of the agenda. Are there any public comments?
I have no written comments. Heather, do we have anyone on the line?
No, we do not.
Great, thank you. First item is the approval of the minutes. Are there any requests to speak on this item?
I have no requests. Heather, anyone on the line?
No one on the line.
All right, I'll make a motion to approve the minutes.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Roll call vote, please.
Commissioner Black?
Yes.
Commissioner St. Martin?
Yes.
Vice Chair Smith?
Yes.
Chairman Stevens?
Yes. All right, the second item is the Plan 2021-0670 for consideration of a sign program for the Oak Valley Express project located at 1815 Oak Valley Village Parkway and 1864 Oak Valley Village Circle in the community commercial zone. Could we have a staff report, please?
Thank you, Chairman Stephen. The property in question, the subject property, is currently entitled to construct and operate a gas station with a convenience store. And it's located on the north side of Oak Valley Parkway, the south side of Oak Valley Village Center, and west of Golf Club Drive. For anyone who's watching and may not be familiar, it is near the Holiday Inn area. This project, both the plot plan and the conditional use permit, were approved by the Planning Commission back in September of 2019. The gas station and convenience store are currently under construction. The site is about 90% constructed and anticipates being energized by Edison in late December. In preparation for development of the site, the applicant submitted a sign program in September to address signage based on the site constraints. The sign program as proposed includes one freeway pylon sign, 2 fuel price monument signs, and various wall and canopy signs. The pylon sign is proposing a maximum height of 60 feet with a total square footage of 380 square feet. And it is located on the hotel parcel east of the Interstate 10 ramp. The sign will be internally illuminated and double-faced, visible from both sides. There are photo simulations that have been prepared and included as attachment E in the staff report. The fuel price signs are proposing a maximum height of 8 feet. The signs will utilize LED lighting for unleaded fuel and green for the diesel fuel. Those signs will be located both at the Oak Valley Parkway frontage and at Golf Club Drive. Primary wall signage is proposing an allowance of 60 square feet, 36-inch letter heights with a maximum 70% width of the frontage. There are secondary signs being proposed at 32 square feet with 30-inch letter height. The canopy signage and wayfinding signage is standard and consistent with the Beaumont Municipal Code. The municipal code allows for sign programs for specific developments, as well as special sign districts or sign overlay zones in specific plans or in certain land uses. The Planning Commission is charged with approving these sign programs, and sign programs may modify the rules of sign size, height, illumination, spacing, orientation, or other non-communicative aspects of the sign. Included in the staff report is a chart showing what the standard zoning allowance is and what's proposed in the master sign program. The project is in the community commercial zone and is surrounded on all sides with the community commercial zone as well. So staff has some options for Planning Commission tonight. The commission can approve the sign program as presented. Staff can request modifications to the sign program, or staff may deny the sign program. Commission may do those things. Staff is available if you have any questions. And I believe we can share any of the requested pictures or information up on this screen.
Are there any, is there any discussion from the commission first off?
Are there any inconsistencies at all with our sign ordinance?
So the sign programs historically in the city have allowed for more signage than what the basic code has allowed. So in that regard, I would say the sign program is requesting more than what the standard zoning allows, but the proposed signage is consistent or less than the square footage that has been allowed in other sign programs.
Okay, and that pylon sign, being so close to the 10 freeway, are there any other agencies that have to be involved in the approval?
No, it's far enough out of the right of way, and it's actually on the Holiday Inn property. So I don't anticipate that we're going to have to deal with Caltrans or anything like that.
Okay, thank you.
Christina, when you said there are more, the number is more, is that correct?
The as far as the square footage of the signs, the sign tenant identification part. So the height is consistent. So they're requesting a 60-foot height, and that's consistent with what the standard zoning would allow. They are requesting additional square footage as far as the identifications on the sign. And so that would be where there would be a request in the program to be above and beyond what the standard zoning would allow.
On the 60-foot sign or on the other signage?
On the 60-foot sign.
Okay, thank you.
I know we had a sign program that was approved catty corner to this on the other quadrant of the intersection last month.
Your mic is off.
All right, we'll try that again. So I know that we had a sign program that was approved on the opposite quadrant of the intersection. The other two quadrants are undeveloped at this point, both community commercial. So I think it's probably safe to assume that at the intersection, at some point in the future, that we could have 4 of these pylon signs. One for each of those separate, for each of those separate commercial developments. The one, I guess the southwest corner, it's the service station, convenience store, drive-through. This one is kind of more of a multi-tenant for that whole area, I suppose. I guess in the one that's on the other side of Oak Valley could be, a larger multi-tenant. And then if anything ever happens on the northeast side, maybe
Sure.
that's 1 or 2. I just want to make sure that we're applying consistency for that intersection on how they look. You know, and if we're going to this kind of, you know, for this multi-tenant property, if we're just going to look at it as just advertising to the businesses, I want to ensure that the other tenants are okay with that there's no other objections from those property owners who would then not be able to have a freeway sign. Or that, you know, it's consistent with what was approved there as far as the maximum square footage. I know this is over what we had just approved in the last one. So
Yeah.
those are my initial concerns.
Okay, I can speak to those. The property owner, as well as staff, had reached out to the other property owners in the surrounding parcels. Nicole, is it possible to bring up the map, because it will help with the conversation? Oh, okay, I'm sorry, I should have. Oh, okay, yeah, let me. Okay, yeah, if we can. There we go, perfect. Thank you. Okay, so, looking at the screen, the left box that's blacked out is, the Holiday Inn site, and then the right side is where the gas station's going. So, all those spaces in the middle, there are a number of other parcels that will develop. So, the applicant as well as staff have reached out to the other property owners numerous times, expressing concern about, wanting to have a sign program for the entire area, the entire horseshoe there that will develop. The other property owners have had no interest in really participating. So, you know, based on what the code provides us, there's no way to really force their hand.
No.
Nor would that be appropriate really
No,
to
it
do
wouldn't.
that. So, you know, we just have moved ahead with, the applicant's request, and Holiday Inn has agreed to participate, so that at least handles, you know, signage for both of those. The municipal code has, some regulations regarding freeway-facing signs. And so there are some distance requirements. The code requires that the proposed sign be within 300 feet of the freeway right-of-way and 600 feet of the intersecting street right-of-way. So we require measurements to be shown when the application is submitted that shows the distance justifying that. So I'm not sure that every parcel there would be able to make that. Because the Holiday Inn is participating, that helps this applicant because they have then a sign program for both of those uses. The other ones may not necessarily qualify to get a freeway sign based on these measurements. Additionally, further down in that code section, the code has some findings that say, one of them, which is the number and spacing of freeway signs will not cause unnecessary confusion, clutter, or other unsightliness in the general location. So staff would then have to, again, go through all of these, you know, findings that have to be made for these freeway pylon signs and look to determine whether or not anybody proposing something, one, met the standards, and then two, are they then disqualified from having the sign based on any of these other requirements that are put in place? So, I mean, do I have some concerns moving down the road in the future? Sure, you know, but is it insurmountable? You know, no, I think not every parcel will qualify, and there may be some ways to work together in the future.
So given the zoning, the land use, I think that it's appropriate if there was a pylon sign on each quadrant. You know, I'd be
Right.
leery about having two up in this one.
Right,
You know, but as others develop, you know, they're gonna want an opportunity as well.
right.
It's a freeway service corridor. I get it, that's fine. You know, I think it's fairly consistent. I think it's short-sighted on their part, but
Yeah,
again,
right.
that's, if they're not willing to participate there, that's their choice. Okay, so that just kind of brings you back to the same thing as, you know, my concern, you know, as I would state to the other commissioners on there, is just so that we have consistency on there depending on what the type of sign is. Since it's, the other one's advertising 2 businesses, this one's advertising 2 businesses, that they should be similar or comparable as far as perspective, if we're not gonna have more of a larger pylon like at the Calamasa, the shopping center
Right.
Calamasa, where you've got 10 different
Right.
users that are part of that.
Right, yeah, so this, this pylon is slightly larger in square feet. I think it's 68 square feet more, but it's about 16 feet shorter. The one that we approved, last month across the freeway, because of the site being depressed down, they requested a variance, or I don't know if it was a variance, I don't want to misspeak. They requested additional height for their pole for
Right, to
visibility.
get over the hill.
Right, yeah,
Right.
exactly. And their sign though, was, square footage was reduced to be consistent with the code. And actually, I'll say it's not even consistent with the code because they don't have 250,000 square foot, which is where that 300 square foot of signage is triggered. So they're still over what would be typically allowed on that site. But this sign is not too far off in the square footage of what's requested.
I know. I just don't want to have hodgepodge of, different things. So I just want to make sure that,
We,
we're close. And if that's the trade-off, is they got extra height and a little bit smaller sign space because of it.
Right.
That, hopefully when these other parcels do develop, that's taken into consideration. So we
Yeah.
don't have a race for who's going to build the biggest sign.
Yeah, that will be, staff will definitely, we have concerns and it will be on our radar for that. The parcel across the street directly to the south of this one, on the south side of Oak Valley, is intended to be much larger scale and much larger in nature. So I imagine they will have something more like San Gorgonio Village or something along those lines is what I would anticipate, just because it's
Yes.
so much greater in square footage, But just for comparative value, the San Gorgonio Village and the Home Depot Center freeway signs are both 75 feet high. And the San Gorgonio Village freeway signs have about 588 square foot of sign area. And then the Home Depot Center actually has about 900 square feet of sign area. So for those much larger centers that have come through with sign programs, they've sort of crafted their freeway signage to meet what their national branded tenants want to have, in that regard. So these signs are definitely well under that scale of development.
From a technical perspective, we addressed this the last one too, that, the lighting and signage is still compliant with dark skies, everything that has there as part of building code.
Yep.
Are these, the signs, are they in, channel lettering as well, or are they fully illuminated panels?
Let's see, they appear to be fully illuminated. Tony, are they channel? Are we doing channels on these? No, these are box. They're box, okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's gonna be a lot brighter than that other one too, because the other one, I think, they said their big sign was their channel lettering.
Yes, and they still, though, will have to comply with dark sky as far as what's illuminated, what goes inside.
Okay.
Just a couple of notes. I did drive that area this evening, and so thank you, Nate, for the comments on consistency, because I think that's very important. And in driving that, it was dark, and there is no sign up there now. But it is because of on page 23 on the packet. I'm sorry, not
want me to-
not 23. The one of the 10 freeway going westbound. I think
Is
it's
it the
20
photo simulation?
28, yeah.
Okay, here I can,
So that shows the eastbound traffic, but I was
There we go. Thank you.
traveling west, and I could barely see the Holiday Inn, and, especially at night, and there is some illumination from their signs. So the fact that they want more square footage, I think is going to be more visible for that westbound. By the time I saw Holiday Inn, there was enough time to merge, but you know what I mean is that having it a little bit bigger, I think is going to be good. And this is also the last exit before we hit into unincorporated and then into Calamasa, so capturing that that, or the first, if you're going eastbound. It's gonna be the first one on Beaumont. So, yeah, that's all my comments on that.
We know what it looks like the height on the roof of the building is probably somewhere around 60 foot as well, maybe 50 foot. Yeah,
It wouldn't be more than. Sorry, my mic wasn't on. It wouldn't be more than 50 feet based on what the zoning code allows.
okay.
See, and then if I can circle back to Commissioner Black's question earlier. So there, the applicant is also requesting an excess in the height of the monuments for the gas station. So typically we would allow 6 feet. They're requesting 8 feet. And then building signage is being requested additionally as well. So Commissioner Black, there is overage requested in each of the categories.
And what's our stance on that?
For sign programs, we've typically allowed up to about a 2-to-1 ratio. So it is consistent with San Gorgonio Village. It's consistent with Center Point, with Oak Valley Plaza, which is immediately adjacent across the street where like Sand Trap and Sugoi Sushi are and all that. So the monument across there in Oak Valley Plaza is almost 9 feet. And it's 6 foot wide. So again, this is consistent with what's been allowed in the area. As far as the wall signage, it's a little more than what we would see in the standard zoning, but again, it's not out of character for what we've allowed in other sign programs.
Okay. Thank you. I just want to, again, stick with that consistency. Don't want to
Yes.
set us up for a problem down the road.
Yes, and all the canopies and everything else like that are consistent with what the code requires.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Any further commission discussion?
I have none.
Hey, you're good?
No, I'm good. Thank you.
Are there any requests to speak on this matter?
Yes, I do have a written comment. I have an email from Elaine Morgan. It states, I am against any exceptions to our codes for the signage request. We are a dark skies community and more signage near our exit ramps is adding more lighting to our community. I also am concerned about the existing and future centers in the area also wanting the same exceptions in the future, especially since the owner of the Chevron station is the same as the 76 station going in. Why wouldn't he want the same advertising abilities? Please deny any exceptions to our standard codes. And I can check the phones also. Heather, do we have anyone on the line?
No one on the line.
Thank you for that. And with all those comments, thank you for writing in. Can we have a motion for this item?
I move to approve option 1 of the plan 2021-0670 as presented.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
A motion and a second. Can we have a roll call vote, please?
Commissioner Black?
Yes?
Commissioner St. Martin?
Yes.
Vice Chair Smith?
Mike?
Chairman Stevens?
Yes.
Yes.
Just, again, moving forward for staff, just make sure that we're applying consistently for everybody else. And, I know dark skies is part of it, and that is important, so.
Yeah, I will say there are no exceptions to the dark sky that are permitted in the sign program. Not this one or any other one.
Okay.
That passes 4-0. Community Development Director comments.
All right, so I don't have any comments myself this evening. However, I believe we have a special guest on the line this evening. The Assistant Director of the Public Works Department, Robert Vestal, and he is going to provide an update for commission on, I believe, on Second Street and on Pennsylvania. So I will turn it over to Mr. Vestal.
Hi, good evening. I'll start with Second Street Extension. That project is currently at the 90% stage for final engineering. The consultant that we've engaged is also performing the environmental work and regulatory permitting, both of which have started and are running concurrently. The funding for that project for construction is currently in the future category through the Road and Bridge DIF fund. So once we have the final cost estimate and the plans, staff and management will discuss moving this project into the construction phase. And I project that the final plans will be finished toward the end of this year, beginning of next year. For the Penn Widening Project, we are expecting to go out to bid for construction, excuse me, at the end of this year, and receiving bids the beginning of next year. The plans are all final. We have 100% plans, specs, and estimates for that project. The environmental was approved earlier this year. And the regulatory stage is ongoing. That's for the Army Corps and other permits. So that project should actually start construction sometime in the first quarter or second quarter, excuse me, of next year. Then I also have the interchange, the Pennsylvania interchange at the 10 freeway. We recently solicited quotes from Fair and Peers, who also did our general plan update, to update the TOR, which is the traffic impact analysis for Caltrans. So Caltrans is requesting some additional analysis and discussion on creating an auxiliary lane in between Pennsylvania and Beaumont, because the distance in between those two streets is short. So as of right now, the project is a streamlined project, which allows us to forego a lot of the more complex and time-consuming aspects of it. But if Caltrans request the auxiliary lane to be constructed for the full length, it will change this project drastically in scope from a local project to a more regional project. And in that sense, that project will require substantially more time and will no longer be a streamlined project.
Bridge widening.
And lastly, we have the Pennsylvania grade separation. I believe we're pretty far on that one. In fact, I don't have much of an update on Pennsylvania grade separation at this time.
Thank you so much, Robert.
Thank you.
Appreciate you.
Yeah.
Thank you for that update. Well, if there's nothing further, I believe this is my last meeting as chair. We are going to reorg in January. Is that
Correct.
correct? Nicole, thank you. So thank you. It's been a pleasure as serving as your chairman for the past year. It's an honor, so thank you. And we adjourn at 6:40 p.m. Thank you.
Good night.
Thank you.